a period of time where our agreeableness with our women were appreciated, and then shit happened, and then we ain't got to go through that, but shit happened, and then they became less appreciative after the fact. But there was a period of time where we worked like a fucking well-oiled machine in tandem with one another, and you know what I mean. Some shit got in the way of that.
I think I know the type of shit you're talking about. Yeah. I still think you could work through that and get back to that place, but we have to, like, your life an outfit. You get to put on whatever clothes you want to wear, and if you adamant about how you want to wear it, you could fix or put in place steps to get you back to whatever place that was well up. Not you specifically, but just anybody in general. Because the reason I initially said it was self-inflicted is, and I appreciate you adding clarity, is because if you in a relationship with a woman who does not treat you correctly, why are you in the relationship? Why did it get to that phase? But if she did treat you correctly and it changed, then we got to try and figure out how to reverse engineer that so we can move in the path. I just want to see everybody, living their best life as far as men go, and I think it's possible. I really do.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, I think overall, I'm just talking about on the macro level. Men were always like, we always got along with our women. We always were way more understanding, way more grace, and then somehow, and everybody knows what happened. Shit hit the fan, and then there goes the appreciation right out the room.
You were speaking about black women in general, like all black women in general.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, what's crazy is, because what's crazy is, if you think about it, where's it?
My goddamn question, huh?
I'm gonna get there. Because what's crazy is that black men are still the most agreeable and nice and understanding group of men, to the degree in which we are the most involved fathers, and we ain't talking about just financially. Like, we do a lot of shit that, like, we talking about raising the kid, teaching, helping them with their homework, giving them baths, playing with them, all the things that we would say that historically women are supposed to do. Men have always been that, right? Black men specifically. And our women have always been the closest to equality to their men, right? And there used to be a time where those two things were a perfect match. And both groups, when we used to improve as a group together with that. And somehow, to Hank's question, you let feminism get in the way. You let government get in the way. And then what happened is that when you separate those two groups of people, where you have one group of men that are the most involved fathers and still the most agreeable men, and then you got one group of women who are the closest to equal to their men, they don't understand how their power worked well together, because it worked like a well-oiled machine when we were together. But when you pull those two groups of people apart, you got one group of people who don't understand and don't appreciate that other group, and then you have another group that doesn't understand why they're being unappreciated, amongst other things. Because if you think about it politically, that put us at odds. Because if you think about how politically, how black men have been forced to get it out the mud, right? We've been forced, like, every step of the way. It's been, hey, we ain't helping you with shit. And then you have our women who had a lot of help and assistance along the way. So even when you think about it politically, our women, that's why our women are way more liberal and open to assistance in government programs and government involvement, whereas black men are like, fuck government. When at one point, when we were together, we both used to understand the power of it and used to be able to wield our power together against the government to get what we wanted. That's how you got the civil rights movement.
I can't argue against that on a grandiose scale, right? About things institutionally that happen. I'm speaking to the micro of, like, the micro just interpersonal relationships on a 1v1, not us versus them. You know what I'm saying? But 1v1, we can implement those things. Because I'm a strong proponent in some people feel like we got to fix the community. I feel like we got to fix the households, and then they create the fixed community. So that's the perspective that I approach like everything from. Like, because I can't universally change 12 million people mind, but if I can change one person mind, then that one person can create the hive. That's kind of how I think about it.
That's what you're supposed, like, to your point, Marcus, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to start within your home first and then branch out, and then each one is going out doing their thing. Well, let me say this. You know, we know that the government and systemic racism and feminism, all that shit exists. And we still echoing like shit that happened in the 60s, the 70s. And like I say, when I listen to these babies talk, when I listen to these shorties talk, they echoing the same shit, fam. And they don't have nearly the experience. It's almost like they listening to their parents argue, and then they get together and they're arguing the same thing. So at some point, the buck gotta stop, which is why I say, fuck it, Generation X gotta hold the L, and we gotta build from there. I'm serious, Shan. We gotta hold that L, and then we gotta pour into these shorties and build from there. They can't move forward thinking they don't need each other. That black man don't need black woman, and black woman ain't shit. She a low down, dirty, trifling hoe. Black man ain't shit. All he want to do is take you up through there. Nah, we gotta raise, crowd, I'll take your word. We gotta raise good people. We gotta raise good men, gotta raise good women, and teach them both that they need each other. All this other shit that, man, Mos Def said at the when he had that interview and he's talking about Drake or whatever. I know what he was talking about when he said what happens if this collapses, but we have to think about that in terms of these systems that support this current structure. What happens when that collapses? Better these people, y'all better stop all this fuck fake gender war shit and learn how to pair bond. Find your you, build your family and build your community.
Because there used to be a time where we used to do what's necessary.
It starts with us as men teaching the younger men. That's where it starts. Look, we're going to determine on how everything moves. If we don't lower our standards and have standards, first of all, have standards, period, and don't lower them and don't kowtow to the women just to get a piece of ass, we'll be fine. But one of the problems is too many dudes, they do just the opposite. We need to teach these young men on how to move and how to have standards. And not to get off of just what for money or a piece of ass. Yeah. Have standards, man.
All right, go take us home, Sweeney.
I was just gonna add to what Chicago Rilla said, that there used to be a time where we used to do what was necessary, and that's how you built. That's how you built family. That's how you built community. It was always what was necessary. And I mean, the reality is as long as we're not willing to do what's necessary, this channel is going to still exist. Because once you see that switch happen in black people where we understand the assignment, shit, these channels don't exist no more. Shit, we gonna have to JR gonna have to change this whole goddamn channel up because we gonna have to be talking about other shit because ain't nobody gonna want to hear this shit no more. But until then, this is what we got.
Black men are handcuffed nowadays.
Because we're educating young men. That's the thing about it. As long as there's a need for educating these young men, this channel could still going to exist. I don't think it would not exist. Now, the conversation may be a little different, and that's good. That's a good thing. But us educating young men is going to always be necessary.
Oh, no, I wouldn't talk about this specific show. I'm talking about the channel and, you know what I mean, like the toxicity and the man versus women and all of this. It won't shit. That's why I say he gonna have to switch up what we talk about. Because it won't have no power anymore because ain't nobody gonna be trying to hear it. Ain't nobody gonna be trying to hear this conversation when everybody's doing what's necessary and getting with the person that's gonna rock with them and do what's necessary for their family.
That's an ideal thing, though. That'd be. I know Jay. I'll probably be happy if that was the case.
I'm hoping that he would be too. I know he's gonna be like, man, no more super chats, but
nah, that's aspirational.
It was never about the money, Swing.
It's aspirational in my opinion.